A warm welcome to all. Today we have a discussion on chemistry of nanomaterials. First of all, introduction to nanoscience and nanotechnology. Let us discuss the origin of the word nano. The prefix nano is derived from Greek language. It represents dwarf. 1 nanometer is simply equal to 1 billionth of a meter. That is, 1 nanometer equal to 10 raised to minus 9 meter. Now, what is nanotechnology? As we all aware, nanotechnology is a field of applied science and technology. The most important feature of nanotechnology is the control of matter on a nanoscale. That is, nanotechnology deals with synthesis, characterization, studies on the physical and chemical properties of nanomaterials. Nanotechnology is the branch of science which mainly concerned with the preparation of the particles, studies of the particles in the range of 1 to 100 nanometer. The fabrication of the particle in this range is the main area of nanotechnology. It is a highly multidisciplinary field. That is, nanotechnology is connected to every branch of science: biology, physics, chemistry, even in life science and every branches of science we can correlate nanotechnology. Now, what will be the approximate size of a nanoparticle? In order to understand the size of a nanoparticle, we can take our hair as a comparison. In the picture you can see the character of the fairy tale, that is Rapunzel. She is highly famous for her hair. And what will be the approximate size of your hair? It is clear that the approximate size of human hair is from 0.06 to 0.08 millimeter. That is, 0.06 millimeter represents ultra thin hair and 0.08 millimeter is the thick hair. Then we can take the average of these two quantities. The average is 0.07 millimeter. That is 7 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter is the approximate size of human hair. Now we can take a nanoparticle of size 7 nanometer. 7 nanometer means 7 into 10 raised to minus 9 meter. Thus, diameter of hair divided by diameter of the nanoparticle equal to 10 raised to 4. That is, nanoparticles have a size near to 1 by 10,000 to that of human hair. Now, we can enter into the history of nanotechnology. Regarding the brief history, the credit of inspiring nanotechnology goes to world famous physicist Richard Feynman. He is a Nobel Prize winner also. He got a Nobel Prize for fundamental works on quantum electrodynamics, and regarding his lectures, he suggested the possibility to build small machines enough to create objects with atomic precision. That is, it is possible to prepare some machines, some machinery. Based on that, we can prepare very small objects in the size range of an atom. Now, this is a very famous talk from Richard Feynman. The talk entitled "There is Plenty of Room at the Bottom." This lecture he given to the Science American Physical Society at Caltech on December 29th of 1959. And in his speech, he gave this beautiful sentence, there is plenty of room at bottom. Then we can enter into the details of his speech. What is meant by plenty of room at the bottom? At the bottom simply implies at the atomic level. That means plenty of rooms at bottom means whenever we are switch over from bulk material level to the nanomaterial level, there are enormous chance, enormous possibilities. For a scientist, a room means chance for working, means a laboratory. Plenty of rooms at bottom means enormous chance for evaluating many new things, many new physical and chemical properties. Thus, the talk, there is plenty of room at the bottom, laid foundation stone to the branch nanotechnology. The term nanotechnology was first used by Taniguchi in 1974. He was a Japanese scientist, and according to him, the definition of nanotechnology is somewhat entirely different from what we use today. And Taniguchi's definition deals with the properties, preparation, characterization, material studies on semiconductor materials. Really, the term nanotechnology as in its sense today is first used by Erich Drexler. In 1986, Erich Drexler published a textbook, Engines of Creation, and the term nanotechnology used in that textbook. After the publication of the Engines of Creation by Erich Drexler, the word as well as the branch nanotechnology rapidly become popular. Now, let us enter into some preparations that nano gold is involved in indigenous system of medicine or traditional medicine. Gold is one important component of many of the Ayurvedic medicines. Let us enter into some details of medicines that contain gold as one of the important component. The so-called Saraswatarishtam is an important medicine that is generally used by Ayurvedic physicians for providing memory enhancement in patients. Moreover, Swarnabhasma is a therapeutic agent which is used for the treatment of several disorders such as rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes mellitus, and nervous system disorders. Now, there are some medicinal preparations available that we give to babies, and the aim of such medicinal preparations is to increase, enhance the mental capability in babies. Now, let us enter into one important historical substance related to nanotechnology, that is Lycurgus cup. The Lycurgus cup represents a Roman vessel made up of glass. Remember, the glass is not ordinary glass, but the glass is simply dichroic glass, which has some different optical property from our common glass. and the Lycurgus cup is representing an outstanding achievement by Romans in the 4th century. The open work on the Lycurgus cup represents some myth related to the legend of King Lycurgus. As I told, the cup is made up of not common glass but with dichroic glass. Then how this dichroism is achieved? The dichroism in the glass is achieved by the support of gold and silver nanoparticles. Now, what is the optical peculiarity of Lycurgus cup? The Lycurgus cup appears pale green in color in the presence of a reflected light. That means whenever we are placing a light source outside the cup appears to be green in color. But whenever we are placing that light source inside the cup appears to be ruby red. That is, the cup color is ruby red in transmitted light. This change in optical property of the glass, this cup, is due to the dichroic nature of the glass used. Then the color difference can be achieved by using dichroism of the glass. The dichroism, as I mentioned, is due to nano gold as well as nano silver. The approximate composition of the nano gold in this cup is nearly 40 picometer. The composition of nano silver is somewhat higher, it is around 300 picometer, 300 ppm. The composition of the cup is not much different from that of our modern glass. Now let us make a comparison between our common glass that we used today with that of the Lycurgus cup. In the Lycurgus cup as well as in the modern glass, the components are more or less, major components are more or less the same. Silicon dioxide, sodium oxide, calcium oxide. From this it is clear that there is no much difference in the percentage composition between two glasses. But Lycurgus cup has entirely different optical properties. Now let us enter into the concept of the aspect of Faraday's divided metal. Faraday's divided metal represents ruby colored gold. Divided metal is prepared by Faraday in a chemical reaction where sodium salt of chloroauric acid, that is NaAlCl4, which is an yellow solution, when treated with a mixture of reducing solution, that is phosphorus in carbon dioxide. During the reaction, during the formation of the Faraday's divided metal, yellow color of the precursor solution changed it to ruby red. Faraday concluded that, several years ago, Faraday concluded that this ruby color is due to the presence of finely divided, very small pieces of, ultra small pieces of gold metal dispersed in a suitable liquid or dispersed in the reaction liquid. He called the ruby colored solution as divided metal. Now let us have an outlook into nanosystems in nature. Mother Nature is a treasure house of different nanosystems. Whenever we are analyzing our body, whenever we are looking a plant, whenever we are looking a lotus flower, whenever we are looking a butterfly or a peacock, we can see the beauty of nanosystems. That is, several nanosystems are present in our nature. Now let us have an outlook into different nanosystems present in nature. Every single part of our body is built up from nanosystems or nanostructures with different structural arrangements. That arrangements describe their different functions. Now, first of all, let us analyze the butterfly wings. We all are fascinated by the beautiful different colors of butterfly wings. Let us check what is the composition, what is the component present in the butterfly wing which produce that beautiful color. The color of the butterfly wing can be divided for convenience into two types. They are chemical color as well as physical color. The chemical color is due to the presence of some pigments. The peculiarity of the chemical color is that the chemical color will not change with the direction. But the next one, that is the physical color, whenever we are looking into some object at different angles, the physical color may change. The physical color is exclusively due to nanomaterials present on the butterfly wings. The picture represents butterfly as well as the nano-sized images of that butterfly wing. From that you can see the arrangement of different nano-sized particles. Now let us have an outlook on the color of peacock feather. Peacock feather represents iridescent color. Iridescent color means some rainbow color. This is due to the presence of nano-sized films or simply thin films made up of nanoparticles which are present in the feather of the peacock. At different angles, the peacock feather exhibit different colors. This is also example for physical color that we already mentioned in the case of butterfly wings. Now, the very important system, very nice example for nanomaterial system present in nature, that is lotus leaf. We all aware about the water repellent nature of the lotus leaf. Why lotus leaf repels water? This is due to the presence of some nanomaterial coatings on the lotus leaf. Regarding the structure of that nanomaterials, we can have some semi-images, and the semi-images of the lotus leaf represents the presence of several micro-sized fragments called papillae, and that papillae comprised of some nano stuff, nano branches. That nano branches are known as protrusions, and as a result of this nano-sized assembly on the surface of the lotus leaf, it exhibits proper water repellent nature. Now consider the natural system of gecko. Geckos are able to move anywhere, even against gravity, at any walls, at any place that organism can move. Why geckos can adhere on the surface of a wall without falling? This is due to some nano assemblies present in gecko's feet. On carefully analyzing the gecko's feet, we can observe that there are several nano-sized systems. That is, whenever we analyze a single feet, there are approximately 5 lakhs of hair. Hair means small nano system. 5 lakh hair per toe, and each hair again compressed of nano projections, and these nano projections are called spatulae. And whenever these nano projections adhere on a wall, there occur approximate force of 100 Newton, and this force held gecko's feet close to the walls without falling down. Now we can analyze the shark skin. The shark can move very fast through water without restrictions, without friction. Which thing made this possible? This is again related to dentines. Dentines are nano-sized systems which are coated on the skin of the shark, and these tough materials offer almost very low resistance, and this helps smooth riding through water. The same image of the shark skin is shown, and from the same image it is clear that nano particles, nano-sized systems are systematically arranged on the surface of the skin, and this nano system provide smooth riding, swifting through the water. This is another system, toucan's beak. Toucan famous for its tough beak. On carefully analyzing the toucan beak, we can again see the beauty of nanosystems. The beak comprised of several ultra small nanoparticles which are properly arranged as that of the particles in a solid without spacing. This thick packing of the nanomaterials made tough beak of toucan. This is another nanosystem, that is spider silk or spider net. Whenever we are taking a spider net or simply the spider silk and analyzing its composition, we can see the presence of several non-biodegradable threads made up of nanomaterials. These threads are highly elastic also, that is, each thread can stretch up to 10 times of its initial strength without breaking. Another nanosystem is bacteria. Whenever we are looking through the structure of different kinds of bacteria, they can be considered as nanowires. Nanowires means the particle in length thickness is almost low, aspect ratio is very high, nano wire system are nanomaterials with long arrangement, and bacteria can be considered as such a type of nano system. In nature, there are many other nano systems also. In human body, DNA, RNA, all such systems can be considered as nano assemblies. Several nano assemblies are present in nature. Whenever we enter into nature, we can again and again enjoy the beauty of the nano systems. That is, Mother Nature is the greatest teacher to the mankind. This statement is very important because we can infer several informations from nature. We will get beautiful ideas regarding nanotechnology, nanomaterials from nature itself. That's all this presentation. Thank you for viewing.